Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Lotek Health. Let ourselves translate expert knowledge. It says, let's talk tickers on Taco Tuesdays, and we're talking about the miles and miles of vascularity our body has to push through. We start off at about 100,000 miles of blood vessels to push trillions of little red blood cells with our heart. Now, this sounds really difficult. It sounds almost insane, especially if you start thinking about walking that much distance. That's about 4 times around the equator. And your heart does that 60 to 100 times a minute, which means it moves like 300 million miles a minute, which is unfathomable. But your heart does it. So you should say thank you. And let's talk to that ticker. Thank you, heart, for pushing through and doing what you do without us having to think about it involuntarily, whether you want to or not. So what can we do to make you, our heart, tick better? How can we talk and speak your love language? Una puño le corazón de sangre. The fist wrapped in blood. So what we can do is, you guessed it, breathe. Yeah, it comes back around to breathing. Again, this is basically a callback to yesterday's first technique for controlling mental anguish and developing mental wealth. Take deeper breaths. Get that inspiratory reserve volume filled up. Don't just use your reserve volume. Use the whole thing. Use all of your lungs, all 6 to 8 liters of them. Because with that breathing, your body relaxes. You pull yourself out of fight or flight, which now that we live in a society, we don't have to fight or flight that often. These freakouts, these anxious little tirades that go through our heads, generally just social interactions, and majority of which is in your head. Number one fear is public speaking among Americans, at least. Public speaking. They're not afraid to die as much as they are afraid to talk in front of someone. I might just die having to talk in front of people. I don't know what they're so afraid of. I do. Being judged, opening their heart, and being rejected. But you know what? Everybody wants you to do well. Everybody wants to hear your voice. They want to see what your message is. So let it shine through. Whatever your message is. Talk it. Talk it out. Talk that message. Speak it. Tell the public. Whatever it is. So with these miles and miles of vascularity, we need to get oxygen to them. If we don't, turns out you can develop cancer. There's a fantastic book called Cancer as a Metabolic Disease. It's like $100 or so to buy, new and used. Wow, it's crazy. It's written by a guy named Thomas Seyfried. He suffered for his art, and now he is going to tell you all about the cancer. What is cancer? It's where your body decides, I'm done making the right kind of DNA. I'm going to make something different, which isn't a radiated mutation. It's your body taking what you've been giving it and solving the problem by killing you, basically. In the blog post, I've recapped it quite succinctly, but this is a huge article, meta-analyses of cancer as a metabolic disease, breaking it down to basically you're a terrible breather. You're taking these shallow tidling breaths and your body's fermenting. Your body's basically turning into sauerkraut. That is really dumbed down and not quite accurate, but really overly simplified reason for cancer. You're not getting enough oxygen And your mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, is not doing what it was meant to do. It's not using oxygen to create energy. It's having to figure out something different, which involves lactate, and it involves, again, fermentation. Your body is breaking sugars down in the best way it can. And we're outnumbered, again, by our little buggies, our bacteria, which is what breaks down sugars, and it creates these terrible byproducts. And the miles and miles of vascularity will do much better with deep breathing, talking to your ticker, listening to your heart, and practicing these conscious breaths. Every meditation, yoga, all these cool, hip, newer ideas of centering yourself start and finish with deep, calming breaths. So do yourself a favor, talk to your ticker, say, hey, what can I do to make your life easier, since you're doing everything for me? You know what I was going to say? Take a deep breath. Puño de corazón de sangre. Soy puño corazón de sangre. No, I'm butchering that, but I'm a fist wrapped in blood. All I can do is punch. Take some deep breaths. Expand your chest and have a wonderful day. This has been another episode of Lotek Talks. Let ourselves translate expert knowledge. Brad Burns. I'm done talking tickers on Taco Tuesdays for this week. Signing off.